The alternative is, okay, great, ready for it. Well, great, let me ask you a question. Does the idea make sense to you? Do you like the idea? Money aside, I didn't say it, I didn't imply it. I am so happy sometimes when I'm selling, my urge, I have to fight myself from getting robotic on all the stuff to get to the no before I can get excited. Because I know no one's buying up until that point. I fight myself and I make sure I stay in state and I sound, because I know how important all that stuff is. I know how important it is. What happens before the sale begins is crucial. The sale doesn't begin when I say, well, based on everything you just said, this is a perfect fit for you. Now, real quick, the sale still hasn't started yet. Still all blah, 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 all noise and talk, right? I've established rapport, gained major intelligence. It's when he says, let me think about it, that the sale starts. Yes or yes? Make sense to everybody? Good, okay. So, embrace it. Tonally, okay? And what that means, by the way, when I say physiologically, again, the old Law and Order head drop. You know, Law and Order? Yeah, you know, the witness says, he gets ruffled on the witness stand, and the lawyer's like, oh. And the jury looks over at the lawyer and says, oh, we knew it all along. Now, that doesn't happen in the real world. And unfortunately, I know a little bit too much about that, being on the stand and stuff. I'm not proud of that. But I will tell you, the thing that I was coached about was no matter what happens, you keep your game face. No matter what comes out, no matter what they say, you don't say, oh my God, now it's... The lawyers never do that in real court. That's for TV. They never tip their hand in real life. Okay? You're always going to maintain your game face. People won't buy if, one, right? They don't absolutely love your product. We know this. Yes or yes? True or true? We all know this, right? Say it. True or true? True. True. Good. The best thing since what? Sliced bread, right? Next, they won't buy if they don't trust or connect with you. That's missing, they're not buying. Again, they're not going to buy if they don't trust or connect with your company. And have not resolved their limiting buying beliefs. Things that hold them back. They've been burned before. They've been told not to trust salespeople. I don't buy from strangers. I need to speak to someone 5 times till I trust them. Here's the greatest line ever from the movie Forrest Gump. And this 6-year-old kid says it all. Gives you the keys to the kingdom. He walks up to his first day at school. You know, who knows? Everyone's seen Forrest Gump, right? Okay, everyone's seen it, right? First day of school. His mom takes him to the bus stop. And his Forrest is not that smart, right? And he walks up to the bus stop with his little braces on his legs, right? And the door opens and he sees the bus driver who he's never met before. And he goes up and she looks down and she goes, well, are you gonna get on the bus? He goes, my mom told me I'm not allowed to get on the bus, talk to strangers. So she goes, well, I'm Dorothy, I'm your bus driver. He goes, well, I'm Forrest Gump, I guess we're not strangers. And he walks on the bus. That's how easy it is to get someone to feel like they're not a stranger with you. People say, well, how do I get someone to trust me? Tell them you're trustworthy. This is really, really simple stuff. We'll get to it in a second in detail, but to say, well, geez, how do I make someone trust me? Tell them I'm trustworthy. Do you say, you don't say, trust me, I'm trustworthy. No. What you say is, I pride myself on certain things. You're going to pride yourself. Don't write this, because I'm going to give you the whole patent for it in a second. I just jumped that here for a second. Don't worry, you're going to get it in a second, the exact language on it. Everyone understand what I'm saying, though? You're going to how do you tell them who you are? Flat out. What you stand for, what kind of human being you are, your qualifications, your certifications, kind of friend you are, the kind of heart you have, your altruistic sensibilities, the way you give back, the way you can leverage people's resources, the way you live for that, you help your family, all your friends, all that sort of stuff. You're going to tell them. Because if they truly knew that, would they buy from you? Yeah. If the other stuff is established too. You tell them. Not like, just trust me because I'm trustworthy. I am ethical. And that's when you do it in a very disarming way. In almost an apologetic way. Get to that in a second. Lastly, you haven't created a strong enough emotional want. I say that people buy on logic, well, they buy on emotion too. Say, I go very much over to this side because I get into this logic, because so many sales courses say people don't buy on logic. And then you get this misconception that you don't create a logical case. And it destroys you. Both must be in place. Both are in place. You got a good shot at closing if a few of the other things are cleared up too. Okay? The 3 10's. Okay? Number 1, they love your product. 2, they like and trust you and know that you care. 3, they trust your company. How many times have I told you what the 3 10's are?
3 times.
Probably like 30 times today. I mean, I've told you, literally, in the last 2 days, I keep saying it again and again and again, right? That's on purpose. It's not by accident. Repetition is the mother of learning. These are the keys to the kingdom right here. Okay? They love your product. They like and trust you and know that you care. And trust your company. You must establish these things before you close. Okay? And you have the art of boxing someone in. Okay? And these are the sides of your box. Now, I caution you. Stop, sidebar, caution. Ethics. Boxing somebody in means you create this emotional, logical beliefs, right? Action threshold. This is what you got to do. You got to box somebody in and give them no choice but to buy lest they contradict everything they know and stand for, their beliefs. They have to contradict themselves to say no. Sometimes people hang up when you put them in this spot. Everyone's like saying, yeah, they do. But if you do it elegantly and they know that you care, they usually don't. They hang up when you box them in like this, but they don't really think that you care. Click. Then you call them back and you get the machine. Or call away the screen, right? Okay? Boxing somebody in ethnically, please, for yourself and also my integrity to go out and teach this. I was reticent to stuff. I wouldn't want to teach this stuff originally, okay? But I'm trusting people to really do the right thing. I do not box people in and take their money unless it's really in their best interest, okay? That's it. That's the story. The art of looping. This is the process where you capture the 3 10's. These loops, visually, what they are, what it really means is that if you're here on the line, right, and they say, let me think about it, you cannot go forward. You can't say, fuck that, I'm going to try to close you anyway. Next close. You can't do that. A loop means you stop, you go backwards, and you take another shot at creating the 3 10's, and you move back to the line, and you go forward, and your loop, does it end here? No. Your loop ends a little further down the line. So if your loop's a little bit, it's not a perfect visual there, but so you loop, you go back, you go online, and you end a little bit further and ask for the order again. Make sense to everybody? Your next loop, you're going to go here. You're not going to go forward. You go whoop, back, and loop back around again. Notice the loop is smaller. In the first loop, the loop gets tighter. The metaphor is not a noose around his neck, so please don't think that's not what I mean, okay? When I say tighter, I mean the language pattern gets more tight because A, you've already pretty much established the first one. By the way, if you can't establish that your product's a 10 for this person, you get a new product to sell. Like the product is to be a given. It's a given that you can establish your product as a 10. Everyone understand that concept? Or sell something else. Or you're speaking to the wrong people. You've qualified the wrong people. Okay? So the loop gets tighter because what's happening is you're talking less and less about the product and more about yourself and the direct benefits to him. Yourself, I mean your integrity. And I say myself, I don't mean talking about me. No, your integrity and how you handle people and your company's integrity. and what you could do for them besides this one transaction over the long term. After the credits are paid, we're getting new credit, mortgages, we want to be an asset to you and your family over the long term. This is far beyond one simple credit repair sale. The amount of money I make on this when I split with the firm and the government, I can't put puppy chow on my dog's bowl. I'm not getting rich. But what I do know is this. If you do even half as well as the rest of the people that have gone through this program, believe me, you're going to need 1,000 referrals when it's all done. And that's how I make money. Sound fair enough? That's a loop. Okay, I missed the actual, I left out the language patterns, by the way. There's a pattern in the middle, I'll get after lunch. There's a pattern there I missed. But that's how you would go through it, right? Next loop, okay, is even tighter. Until it gets to the point here when you really are objection, answer the objection, no more deflection, answer the objection. True beauty is, bam, ask for the order. Boom, you're getting and then either he's going to buy or not, or he's not a buyer. And the loop gets tighter and tighter as you move down the line. And at a certain point in time, bam, they start buying. Happens usually in this kill zone right here. They start to buy. Once in a while, you got people, you take them to the very end, they finally buy. Those are really gratifying. They're also going to be a waste of time. Okay, I've watched this. I was training some company in California like 2 weeks ago. I did a quick training for some company. I watched this guy, taught him, he was straight line. He was boxing this guy in for credit card machines. It's credit card machines, like that business, right? And he was mercilessly, but ethically, just going after. He would not let this guy off the phone. The guy actually bought after an hour. An hour. So like, all right, well, that's okay, but that's a lot of work for I personally would say, you know what, that's a guy I might let go because I could make a couple more calls. Usually that won't result in the sale. Okay, so and also ethics again. You don't want to be beating someone up, right? There's a certain point of good taste and good judgment where you say, okay, listen, next, have a great day, good luck. If I can help you in the future, please feel free to call me. You never, ever, ever end a call in a bad way. I don't care if they don't buy you, if they're rude to you. Whatever happens, you end the call honorably. Thank you, and wish you great luck. Have anything to do, a reflection on yourself, your company, and you'll feel better as a human being about it. Never get adversarial, never get nasty, never curse. You treat your people with respect even when they don't buy. Hugely important. So that's the way it works. Those are the 3 10s. What we're going to do is we're actually going to run the patterns and give you the exact language for the 3 loops. There's other loops too that come after, but these are the 3 primary loops that you need to know to really manage this. And the rest you'll figure out along the way. Not that difficult. Like again, it's all very simple. Structure and tonality. The exercise that you did before, where you were finding your triggers, I know it's a little funny and wacky, but sometimes funny and wacky is what works. Don't kid yourself. The ability to harness any tonality you choose is going to be critical when you're boxing somebody in. Because remember, the box, right? The box can also result in a hang-up if you're doing it in a way that's not disarming. It doesn't say that you care. Say, listen, I understand, don't misconstrue my enthusiasm and pressure. It's in your best interest. I care. I'm just like you. If all that stuff is in there, if you're boxing with a state of absolute certainty, not going to work. You don't box with certainty. There's blips of certainty. There's blips of certainty in there. Show you what they are. There's certain high notes of certainty, but mostly it's compassion. And it's certainty that you know that you can help them gain control of their lives. That's your certainty. Your certainty that you can help them. Not that you're right and you can make a commission, you can bang the guy closed. The certainty in your voice is almost a pleading tone that I know I got the goods, I know I can help you. Believe me, believe me, you will not be sorry. That's the sort of certainty you need. This is the heart of what makes the straight line so powerful. So let's just go, and let me just reframe, and I'm going to say this, let me give one more ethical warning here, please, to start this. This shit is so powerful and effective. You will get people to do things they shouldn't do, buy things they shouldn't buy routinely, without much problem. So you can never use it for that. This is about helping people overcome obstacles to buying, to motivate them to take action when they should. to help them break through those fear barriers, the things that we generalize. Remember I talk about deletion, distortion, and generalization? That's how we make sense of the world, right? What happens is when we were 5 and our mommy said, you know, don't trust a stranger, don't take candy, all this sort of stuff, we generalized it out to everything. Don't trust anybody. Now, in this world we live in today, you can't live like that. You can't live in a bubble. You just can't. You're getting barraged with emails and offers and texts and this and that. You got to exist in the world, move through it without fear. You have to make smart decisions, but you have to make decisions quickly in this world or you get destroyed. Financially, emotionally, it doesn't work. So the strategy of saying, I'm not going to trust anybody is a very disempowering strategy. We generalized that from when we were kids, and also, for many people, they were burnt by unscrupulous salespeople, which makes your job as an honest salesperson harder. Fact is, though, because they were burnt once, does that mean that all salespeople are evil? Yes or no? Of course not, but we generalize. To make sense of the world, we generalize. So you're up against that generalization. Make sense? Yes or yes? Great. So what you're going to be doing here as you loop is you're going to be breaking through that belief. You know that up front. You're going to assume that unless he's the 1 in a million who loves salesmen, and I don't say that like, oh, everyone hates sales. I'm saying that who has none of that belief. Even myself, as a salesperson, has that belief. Instantly it comes up. The wall comes up wherever I go. You know it's true. For yourself even. And I'm a buyer. I have a little bit of it. People who aren't buyers have thick walls of it. The good news is that when you get someone like that, who doesn't really buy from anybody, when you break it down, you have a customer for life. So it can work against you too, as long as you're aware of it and you can address it in an elegant way and show a person how to take action to move through those barriers to get what they, not just what they want, but what they need. Make sense? Great. Okay, so here we go. First loop, okay, it starts here, okay? The 3 10's are what? The product is what? The best thing since sliced bread, right? Okay? It's on your timing. You deflect objections, listen twice as much as you speak, and run specific patterns, okay? That's looping. Your first 10, okay? Sliced bread, okay? People will not buy if they're not convinced your product is the best thing since sliced bread. You're saying, oh, that's not really true, Jordan. You know, maybe you're right. Sometimes they will buy. But honestly, it makes your job a lot easier when you get into that level of certainty about your product. If they kind of like your product and they just really need something as a default, you can make a sale. But typically, those sales are made on a transactional basis. They go out and get those goods at a store. They're not going to go call and be hammered on the phone by a stranger to buy something they're not sure about. If they're going to buy from a stranger on a phone call or even face-to-face on a cold call, they're going to want to make sure they love the product. Now, how do you do that? Well, you gave the foundation of that in your opening presentation. But the fact is you left most of your powder dry. So what you're going to do is this. When you ask the guy for the order, and let me go through that one time here. Let's reinsert ourselves in this script here. Okay, now here, watch. Getting enrolled is very simple. Just a question of some basic information. Now, you see me reading the script? I could say this off the top of my head, but without as much certainty as if I look at the paper. So remember, if you're on a phone and you have the benefit of being able to look at a piece of paper with the exact words written on it, it allows your mind to wander forward. In other words, because you have the paper there, you can run another dialogue in your head, which is listen to what they're saying, developing a strategy for later down the line, right? You want to keep all your resources as much open to other things as remembering a script, so it's right in front of you. So now getting started is very simple. Just a question of some basic information along with your card details. And I can reserve you a seat at next month's training session. And believe me, Bob, if you do even half as well as the rest of the people who've gone through this program, you're going to be very, very impressed. Sound fair enough? That's where you enter the sale. When he says, well, let me think, sounds good. He usually says, sounds good, let me think about it. Is that a pretty rational response? Sounds good, let me think about it. Great. Option 1 is, what is there to think about? I gave you a lot of facts. Let me just tell you something. Listen, number one here, maybe you didn't hear me correctly. This is the best thing since sliced bread. You need this. You know you need this. You're about to lose your house. Your credit's in the toilet bowl. Whatever it might be, you need to attend this seminar because you don't know what you're doing in your industry, blah, blah, blah. You can attack the guy head on and you lose rapport. You fall out of rapport. Or you could do deflection. Write that down. Number one, deflect. He says, let me think about it. You don't say why. You say, I hear what you're saying, but let me ask you a question. Money aside, does the idea make sense to you? Do you like the idea? Yes or no? No. What did I do wrong? I said money aside. Why do I need to say money aside? I think my tone's pretty clear, isn't it? That money is aside here. And it's just very honest, like, it's like an arm's length question, like, no big deal. I what? Right? Disarming. I disarm my tone. I don't say, well, let me ask you, let me ask you a question. Maybe you didn't hear what I said to you, but does this idea make sense to you? Do you like the idea? Negative. You cannot say it that way. It is ultimate disarm. I hear what you're saying. Let me ask you a question. Does the idea make sense to you? Do you like the idea? That's your tonality. And he'll say, yeah, it sounds pretty good. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I know I need to get this done. So now what you're going to do is you're going to pace, lead. Okay? If he says to you, and this is so crucial, write this, pace, lead at this moment. If he says to you, yeah, it sounds pretty good. You don't say exactly. Now let me say this, the true beauty of the program, and you resell the program. Don't come at him with enthusiasm. Enter his world where he is. He's at a certain, let's say you have a scale of 1 to 10. I'll switch to purple now. Make this nice little rainbow. 1 to 10. Why I put the dash there? I have no fucking idea. I can't write English, okay? I can type it, right? So anyway, 1 to 10. Okay, let's make little dots to fill it in. Okay? Guy says, yeah, it sounds pretty good. Where do you think he is? 4, 5, 6? 5 or 6, right? Sound fair? He's a 5 or a 6. Okay? Do you come at him with a 10 of how enthusiastic and certain you are about your product? No. You break rapport that way. He tunes out. You've entered his world at a different spot. You always have to be conscious every moment you're on the phone or in person with somebody that you stay within their sphere of where they are emotionally. So what you do is you pace him. He says, yeah, it sounds pretty good. You say, well, yeah, exactly. I hear what you're saying. Let me say this. The true beauty of the program, and you're right about what he is, maybe a notch above him. Let's go through it again. You say, let me ask you a question. Does the idea make sense to you? Do you like the idea? He says, yeah, it sounds pretty good. I know I need to get some credit repair done. I said, exactly. And let me say this. The true beauty of the program is that we have 3 different strategies and so on and so forth. And now you're going to go into a second wrap. And, we've been doing this for 5 years and blah, 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 blah. Doesn't matter what the verbiage is. But here's what happens. Slowly but surely, you're inching up your pace. And somewhere in the middle, you're in a state of absolute certainty. Watch. With this trading company, look at the rebuttal. Everyone got this sheet? Okay, watch. It says, exactly. You see, the true beauty of the program, of the system, you'll be investing your funds directly alongside institutional money. You know what they say about institutional money? It's usually smart money. And even when it's not, it's enough to fuel the market anyway. You follow me? He says, yeah, because that makes sense. You say, great. Exactly. See, now he'll follow. It's a question you'll have to agree with. He'll say, yeah, I do. Say, exactly. Raise up again, okay? It's one of the most basic truths of currency trading. You see, all of a sudden, you're back at a pace now. You're up again in certainty. You don't hit him. If he's uncertain, do not hit him with certainty. Enter his world where he is. Slowly build and wait for the first point in time where you can, boom, jump up your level of certainty. Before you know it, now what's happening, he's going to follow you emotionally. You start leading him. That's what pace lead is. You act like the guy, and bam, you step it up, and he acts like you. And it works 90% of the time. So it will follow your energy. The state that you have affects the state of everybody around you. So you pop in the middle of this thing, go from is world, slightly above, boom, boom, you hit your spot, and you'll know where it is in your script. Find your spot in your script. You create a question here, you make a statement whose obviousness cannot be argued, and get him to agree with you as something that's totally obvious. Once he does that, he's now in a state of certainty, and you take that and roll it back into your product. Make sense? Yes or yes? Okay, now you move forward. End off this statement here, okay, with a very powerful statement that future paces success. What that means is you paint a picture when you get to the end of your script. Here it talks about after you start making money and you're seeing daylight, then you can start working bigger and better and make some real money. Yeah, follow what I'm saying? He's like, oh yeah, of course now. Of course he's going to say yes. It's no longer about, does he want to buy this product? It's about, does he love the idea of seeing financial daylight in his life and getting ahead? The equivalent for credit repair would be what? After we get your credit fixed, all right, then we can start building you some real credit at the right rates. Make sense so far? He's like, oh yeah, exactly. What's he going to say? No, it doesn't make sense. For loan mods, we'll get your loan mod if I get your payment to an affordable level, and then you can start really getting yourself back on track. Make sense so far? He'll say, oh yeah, of course it will. Bingo. Best thing since sliced bread. You get that? You deflected his objection and you got him to admit a simple truth. Boom. Logically. Forget money. You didn't say forget money, but just you disarmed him with your tone and you got him to buy into the credibility and the efficacy of your program. And it better be credible and be effective, or shame on you for using this system to manipulate somebody. But if your system's great, and I know you guys have great products, bang. You've got him on board now with the first 10. Now, he's at a 10 for how long? Like 3 seconds, maybe? Right? Then his mind's like, oh, wait a second. He's like, what happened? Wait a second. I didn't know I want to buy, but I just said this is the greatest thing. And he starts to erode slightly, but he's closer. Hopefully, if you did a good job and your script is well written, you could get the guy to a 10 in the moment. Right here. Down to a 10. And in your mind, you're like, check a box. Okay? You turned the combination a little bit. Got click. Now we know that the things that must happen here are A, he must think what? Your product is I love this slide, by the way, right? Makes me hungry. Best thing since sliced bread, okay? Which leads us to step 2, okay? Selling yourself. How do you sell yourself? You don't just say, I'm the best, I'm the greatest, trust me, trust me, trust me, trust me. You sound like a fool and a salesman. Many, many years ago, they had these courses, like Dale Carnegie was one of these courses, and you said someone's name 5 times, they trusted you. People are a bit wiser than that right now. You know, the days of, if you guys have been around at all, that these Ben Franklin closes, you know what Ben Franklin closes? You'd say, well, when old Benjamin Franklin couldn't make a decision, he was a very wise man, he did something very simple. He took out a big piece of paper, he drew a line right down the middle, and he put on one side of the paper all the positives why you should buy the product, and all the negatives on the other side why you shouldn't buy the product. And whichever side had more of the positives and negatives, he did that thing. And of course, you guide them through and you come up with 84 positives and 2 negatives. Right? Well, people are way too smart for Ben Franklin closes right now. However, the theory of a Ben Franklin close is exactly what you're doing as you're moving down the straight line. You're just doing it subtly and elegantly. And it happens in a loop while you're breaking beliefs. See, a Ben Franklin close is pure logic. Pure logic. It's like, energy expended, benefit created. Risk, reward. It's important, but you can't do a Ben Franklin close. People will laugh at you. Okay? So how do you sell yourself? Well, the best way to sell yourself is to make it into a metaphor